Peace, this is Brother Hatim, and you have joined us on Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Be sure to check out our site and subscribe at tribe.gyenamejourney.com.
All my brothers and sisters, hold hands and bow your heads. Let us pray. God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth amongst the gods. How long will you judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? I say, defend the poor and the fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and the needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of court. I have said, ye are God, and all of you are children of the Most High. But you shall die like men, and fall like one of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations. Allahu Akbar.
This is Kadar Franks, and you are now listening to the Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
Keep up with the journey. Check out what we have done in the past. Go to journeyarchives.com.
This is Adnan Sheik, aka Ace, live from Shisha Lounge, and you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
Be sure to follow Gye-Nyame Journey on Facebook, Google+, and Twitter. Check us out. Join the journey.
This is Adnan Sheik, aka Ace, live from Shisha Lounge, and you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
You are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio with Monica. Enjoy.
This is Melina, and this is Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
This is Willie. Welcome to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. I want to give a shout out to Sibba Kevin, all my Sibba Nation out there. I want to give a shout out to my mom. I want to give a shout out to my dad for raising me and my family for being around me. And I want to give a shout out to the people of my generation that's trying to do something big.
This is Cleveland, and you're listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
Peace, Hotep. It's Mansour Hotep, aka Mr. Deity. Mr. Deity, does it sound good? I think it sounds great. Right now, you listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
If you're not adding anything to the culture that you claim, you don't deserve to carry his name. This is Brother Hatim coming at you live, and you are now listening to the Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Shouts out to the Gye-Nyame tribe, Gye-Nyame family. Stand up. Peace. If you're not adding anything to the culture that you claim, you don't deserve to carry his name. This is Brother Hatim coming at you live, and you are now listening to the Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Shouts out to Gye-Nyame Tribe, Gye-Nyame family. Stand up. And you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Peace. This is Gina.
This is Gina.
And you are now
Now you listen to my daddy.
on Gye-Nyame
Gye-Nyame Journey
Radio.
Radio.
Peace.
Peace.
I have had enough. I have had enough. With my 2.5 miles every morning. Okay, that's good. Oh, shouts out to Miss Stephanie Jackson, Jacqueline C. Brooks. Get down, old man. Hey, listen, family. It's about to go down here at Gye-Nyame Journey. I have one of those life-changing stories. Listen to me. Like and share, because one of your friends may need to hear this story. This is a powerful story. I just had a chance to sit down and read it. It's called The Two Men Who Were Enemies. Oh my God. Listen, this is going down tonight. Listen, this is something that you are going to get what you need. Oh my God, Miss Janice Riley is on the line. The teacher is in the house. Listen, this folktale is about to go down, but first I got to let you know, you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey. That's right. I got my own Phoenix in the house, right? This is Folktales for Grown Folks, and guess what? This is a Heart of a Simba production. Oh yeah, well we strive to blow up your old picture. Listen to me, family. Listen. This folktale may answer a lot of the questions that you may have about what's going on in your life. Oh, shouts out to Aunt Donna. How you doing out there? How you doing? Listen, family. I looked at this proverb, and the only thing that came to my mind was, the minnow will be lost. The minnow will be lost. If not for the courage of the fearless crew, the minnow would be lost. Right? Some of y'all old enough to know where that come from. Right? And I want y'all to understand, family, we are on the minnow. And we are in sea, and the stormy weather is forming overhead. And we have to prepare ourselves. Now, I'm going to make this show kind of quick. I ain't tired, but I don't want to burn up all of y'all time. And, of course, with net neutrality and all the other stuff going on in the world, you know what I'm saying? I need to get my sleep so I can make sure I pour these libations in the morning on time, right? So the time is still fluctuating because I get more people at 5:15 in the morning, but one of my major contributors to the show likes the 4:15. I have not been able to do the 4:15 since we did the time shift, family. Now, I need you to understand, he who controls the time controls your mind. You know what I'm saying? So, I got to figure out a way to control my time. right? Because I don't like the whole dropping back a whole hour. I feel like somebody is just deciding that they're going to take my time and do what they want with it, and I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm in control like that, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm a control freak like that. But hey, let's get to this folktale, right? Now, lines are open. Let me type it in. Lines are open. Where is... Damn, I can't find my own video. I need a producer. I need a producer. I need a producer. I need somebody to handle some of this stuff for me. Folktales for grown folks. Folktales for grown folks. And I'm posted it up about 3 or 4. There we go. Right there. Here you go, family. Let me type this in for y'all. Those that want to join the conversation, 614-556-4535. All right? You don't need no code. You call right on. Get right on the line. I'm going to like that, and I'm going to pin it in the comments so that y'all can see it. You got the number if you want, but here we go. The two men who were enemies. Two men, deadly enemies to each other, were sailing in the same vessel, determined to keep as far apart as possible. The one seated himself in the stern and the other in the bow of the ship, or the prow of the ship. A violent storm arose, and with the vessel in great danger of sinking, the one in the stern inquired of the pilot which of the two ends of the ship would go down first. On his replying that he supposed it would be the prow, the man said, "Death would not be grievous to me if I could only see my enemy die before me." The minnow would be lost. The minnow would be lost if not for the courage of the fearless crew. The minnow would be lost. Two men, deadly enemies to each other, were sailing in the same vessel, determined to keep as far apart as possible. The one seated himself in the stern, or the stem, and the other in the prow of the ship. A violent storm arose, and with the vessel in great danger of sinking, the one in the stern inquired of the pilot which of the two ends of the ship would go down first. On his replying that he supposed it would be the prow, the man said, "Death would not be grievous to me if I could only see my enemy die before me." Comments. I want y'all to think about that. The vessel. What vessel are you on? Are you on the vessel with an enemy? And is it satisfactory to die in the way that this one wants to die? Death is all right with me as long as I can see my enemy go down first. This story could go in so many different directions, and it applies to us on different levels of our lives, family. We could look at it from the individual standpoint. We could look at it from us striving for a goal. We could look at it as from a community standpoint. We could look at it as the community striving to achieve a goal. But let's look at the story. The ship. What is the ship? What is the ship? What is the ship? The ship is the common place where both of these enemies are. The ship is the common thing that they are aboard. The ship is the common community that these individuals live in. The ship is the common city that these individuals live in. The ship is the thing that is maintaining both of them at this point in time. These individuals hate each other so much that they go to opposite ends of the vessel. Now, the ship is going down. You know, because at first when I read this story, I was like, well, dang, you know, is the guy checking to see if he go to the other side? Because they didn't say, it didn't matter what side either one of the enemies went to. The only issue was that the ship was going to sink. So one of the enemies walked up to the captain and said, which end will sink first? And when the captain stated that his enemy's end would sink first, he no longer fretted death. I want y'all, listen, I'm going to let y'all soak that one in. I want you to soak that in. I want you to soak that in. Jacqueline, Sister Jackie said, so are we saying as long as the racists die an awful death first, I'm good with my own death, however it comes? Think about this, Jackie. Nobody escapes life alive. Right? And we not saying the ship is the vessel that carries them both, good and evil, strong and weak, fearful and fearless. Right? That's what Miss Jan is saying. I want you to think about it, right? Because this is the point. If I'm going to die anyway, see, because look, in the end, these dudes wasn't looking for retribution. They weren't looking for peace. The only thing that made the death that was coming better was the fact that my enemy died first. I think the key in this is not the vessel, but the nature that guides it, the spiritual force that holds them both. And the spiritual force is taking them both down. It's taking them both down. Let's look at Homeboy's quote. On his replying that he supposed it would be the proud, the man said, death would not be grievous to me if I could only see my enemy die before me. Now, after looking at the news and seeing what's going on in Libya, after looking around and seeing a lot of stuff that's going down, you know what I'm saying? Because this, let's take it off community. Let's take it to the personal piece. A lot of us are stuck in our lives where we're stuck because of fears. We're on a boat. Our fears are enemy. And we strive to get to one end away from it. And a lot of times, because we don't come to terms with our fear, right? Because we don't come to terms with our fear, we never get to experience life to its fullest. So the sink just sinks. Oftentimes, in order for us to prosper, we have to take on the dragon of our fear and kill that mother. Kill it. Gotta kill it dead. Why? Because this fear is stopping us. Even if I only got a few more moments to live, I could live without that fear for a few moments. And a few moments for me will be more joyful than the whole life that I lived under fear. Let's look at it as oppression. Oppression is my enemy. Or oppression has been our enemy. It's on one side of the ship, I'm on the other side of the ship. It will bring me great joy to know that if I got to go and oppression is on that ship with me, it will bring me great joy to watch oppression drown, regardless of what guise it was under. See, this folktale speaks of a mind state that a lot of us have been trained away from. We got to understand back in the day, when people were enemies, they were sworn enemies. It wouldn't know, you know what I'm saying? Well, you always had those greedy bastards out there. But there was a thing called honor, dude, where if you was my enemy, there's no compromise with us. You diametrically oppose everything I stand for. We have been taught that everything is okay. Everything is acceptable. Right? And I'm thinking this proverb or this folktale is trying to teach us that sometime, because we're going to have to go up out of here, sometime it might be beneficial to watch your enemy die, even if you're going to die along with them. Right? Because, I mean, we have given away our warrior spirit. Right? I mean, because this proverb for me, you know what I'm saying? Because at first when I read it, I was like, ooh, man. See, because I thought possibly that this was a story about two fools who couldn't reconcile and save the ship. You know what I'm saying? Because a little bit of weight on one side may keep the ship from float. But no, death is imminent. It's coming. There's no way to avoid this death, which is the way of a lot of our lives. There's no way, you know what I'm saying? There's no way to avoid the death. I have somebody that has tormented me. I have somebody who, in a sense, I may have tormented as well. We are bitter enemies. What better way to go out than to watch them bite dust? Sister Jackie, here she go. The other thing is that I may not even be happy with the way the enemy goes out. Then still, I am unsatisfied. Death and the nature of that which that has the final say is saying to me, figure it out. See more. Hold on. Go ahead, Jackie. Death is and I can't imminent. Death is imminent. Right? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like this. Another aspect that we have surrendered is coming to terms with the fact that we all gonna die. We all live on borrowed time. I read in the book one time, it said we all are dying from a venereal disease called life. We are born with it, and this venereal disease slowly but surely kills us. Right? We have not come to terms with the fact that we're going to die. And in many cases, we don't get to decide how that end comes. Nor, in many cases, do we get to decide how the end comes for our enemy. For somebody that has accepted this, death is coming. So it's like, I'm not trying to hide from it. Right? I'm not trying to dodge it. And that's kind of scary, right? Because that's a scary mind state for some of us. Right? And I'm not saying being reckless and being stupid with the life that you've been given, but understanding the fact, because in fact, when you live as if death is around the corner, you do things differently. The day is a lot brighter to you. The flowers are a lot more beautiful to you. The personal relationships you have in your life are easier for you to embrace when you live when you live on the warrior path. Because on the warrior path, regardless of what path that is, you know that you have a limited amount of time to be here. Because at any given time, you can be taken out. Whether it's an actual physical warrior or it's a mental warrior. This is what separates some people, because the passion that drives some people is the passion that they know, look, I got to get it in. Because I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to walk. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to talk. I got to get it in. Right? And this drives them, and it's a passion, and it's like, boom, when death comes, I'm empty. So what is death getting? Right? What is death getting? You know what I'm saying? We mourn when young people die, because they didn't get a chance to find that passion and to live the life to the fullest. Right? You know, and we kind of saw when an elder passes, but is a lot different than when a young person passes, because that elder had an opportunity to invest him or herself into the passion of living, and they got the fullness out of life. Right? As a warrior, you realize at any given moment, you can be taken out of here. Whether you're a warrior on the battlefield, whether you're a warrior with a pencil in your hand and writing. My best writing comes when I'm faced with torturous pain, emotional pain, or when I know something is rapidly coming to an end. Right? And a lot of us, we've been programmed to, like, you got a long life to live. But really, when it comes down to it, on this plane, in the existence that we exist in this body, we have a very limited and short time compared to everything else. Compared to the true you, this life that you have on this planet is
is like a grain of is like a grain of rice in a 15-pound bag. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like those individuals that embrace their life, boom, it's like, boom. If I've been living my life and you've been my enemy my whole life, and I got to go out, if I'm going to go out, it sure would be a little bit easier for me to digest going out, even though it ain't hard for me to digest in the first place, if I'm able to watch you go out first. Right? Now let's take it off the enemy. Let's talk about our old selves, which in a sense, for a lot of us, is our enemies. It's a beautiful thing when we're able to watch that weak, frail thing that we used to be pass on. It's a beautiful thing. Right? What if we was to take the vessel as, because Jack said, I think the key is not the vessel, but the nature that guides it, the spiritual forces that hold them both together. And Sister Janet says the ship is the vessel that carries them both, good and evil, strong and weak, fearful and fearless. Let's say we take it off of the external enemies. Let's say we take it inside of us because we have a battle going on inside of us. This body is the vessel. You got two sides, or you got two parts of you warring. Right? Sometimes you got to watch that one part die. But oftentimes when we get rid of that one part, we shorten our lives. I know that sounds crazy. We shorten our lives. You know what I'm saying? So this for me is a warrior's. This is a warrior's tale. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't even know the extent of. We don't even know why they're enemies. Two men, deadly enemies to each other, was deadly. This ain't. Now we got to understand. They ain't just say enemies. You ain't just talking about my mama. We talking about deadly enemies. Now we got to remember when Aesop wrote these fables, a deadly enemy was somebody that would slit your throat at a given moment, and may have slit some of your compatriots' throats as well. May have killed some of your friends. May have killed people within your family. This is what enemies do. This is what enemies do. Enemies strive to destroy you and everything that you represent. And until we're able to face this fact, you know what I'm saying? We always going to be on the losing end, whether we're talking about personal or externally as a group. Until we realize enemy's job is to destroy you, is to remove you and yours from the playing board of life so that they can make things easier for themselves. A deadly enemy. And many of us have deadly enemies in our very lives that we don't recognize because they doing the slow killing of you. Some of us are in relationships that are deadly. Some of us work in environments that are deadly. It's slowly but surely killing you. We got to understand, see, because nowadays we keep it politically correct. So I can't really identify myself as your enemy, but I slickly try to take your life breath. I want to take your last breath. If that means taking your job, I'm going to take your job. This means if pulling you over, if it means if I'm pulling you over, it means that I'm a deadly enemy and I am going to disconnect your life. I'm going to destroy your life. It's time. Determined to keep as far apart as possible, the one seating himself in the stern and the other in the prow, or the brow, or the bow of the ship. A violent storm arose, and with the vessel, oh my God, here we go with this foolishness here. Good grief. I apologize. I don't know. I told y'all that net neutrality is killing me. I don't know. I'm just joking. A violent storm arose with the vessel in great danger of sinking. The one in the stern inquired of the pilot which of the two ends of the ship would go down first. On his replying that he supposed it would be the prow or the bow, the man said, "Death would not be grievous to me if I could only see my enemy die before me." See, remember, the goal is to outlive your enemy. This is the Now, this is a major strategy for those that battle on a generational level. I'm gonna outlive my enemy. That is my victory. If I outlive them by a minute, I beat them. Right? But unfortunately, we're not even totally in the game. Matter of fact, many of us act like we don't even realize that there's a game going on. We just in the field getting in the damn way, getting penalties and causing us to lose yards, getting us to lose the ball. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't realize that we're on the field. We're in the game. We're on the field of life, and we're in the game. And it's beat your enemy or be beaten by your enemy. And we have a very simple choice. Now, but in this instance, the individuals only got one choice. I could die miserably, or I could sit here and watch my enemy go out first. See, and we got to remember, some people play like this, because I ain't saying I'm not prescribing this, but what I'm saying is some people play like this, family. Their greatest joy is to see you take your last breath, see you at your last day at the desk, to see you. Hold on, somebody said, Jacqueline, it may be interrupting something about the human heart. His importance in the face of death is focused on the enemy dying before me. Now, but if you want at war, Jackie, I mean, that is your quest, to destroy your enemy. Right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, because think about this. Part of spirituality is being able to hone in on what you're doing. Now, you hitting it on the head. Part of spirituality is being able to focus on what your objective is. Many of us practice some of the spiritual principles in places where spiritual principles don't need to be practiced. Well, actually, we refuse to practice the spiritual principles that are needed for certain occasions. Right? Truth, justice, righteousness, reciprocity, balance, order, and harmony. Right? Unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. Or unity, self-determination, respect, gratitude, purpose, creativity, and trust, as I teach the kids. We often do not practice those right, or do we follow through with them? See, because when we look at the laws of Ma'at was protected by a being called Herakuti. Herakuti was the god of war. Very skilled warrior that seek to bring balance to the scales of Ma'at. When the scales of Ma'at were not balanced, Herakuti would be released upon the world to bring balance to the scales. So sometime in our spirituality, we have to go towards the war piece, and we have to be able with precision and focus to be able to handle our business. And if this means taking my enemy out, that's what I'm supposed to do. I think I lean toward being the man on the other end of the boat than the man that is the one wishing my death upon me. Hey, if I had to pick, I'm going to be the dude watching. I would prefer to watch the other dude drown. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm going to drown too, but it might bring me a little chuckle. You know what I'm saying? You've been giving me hell. You killed my cousin. Killed my brother. You raped my sister. You raided 3 of our villages. Right? See, because it's painful for us to really be who we are. Because we got to understand that if there's light, there's also darkness. So when we talk about spirituality, a lot of us don't want to talk about the darker sides of spirituality. some of the necessary steps that we may have to take in order to bring balance to our lives and to other lives. This is why we let some people linger in our lives that don't need to linger in our lives, because it's wrong for us to be honest with them and be like, you ain't shit. You need to get up and get the fuck up out my crib. You pulling me down. You pulling the crew down. This is why we can't call people out on any bullshit. You know why? Because we have been fooled to believe that spirituality is about just being good. Spirituality is about being balanced. This means I bring life, and this means I could bring death. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? We can't win the battle if we out of balance, because I want y'all to remember this. Mayat is about balance. I asked a teacher one time, because we was talking about the scales of Mayat and how in the afterlife, in the mythos of the ancient Kemites, how they would weigh the heart in the scale, and your heart had to balance out and be lighter than a feather or light as a feather. I asked the question, I said, could the heart be too light? I know there's a consequence for it being too heavy, but can the heart be too light, where the feather lifted all the way up? What happens to an individual's spirit? What happens to an individual's soul when it is too light? Because if it's too light, you might not have participated in the full cycle of life. I want you to understand that our lives are contingent on us taking lives. I guess people don't understand that. The chicken that we eat, somebody had to kill that shit. The cow, somebody had to kill. Your human life is built upon the process of consuming death. Why do we think that in our human relationships is any different? Hell, the American economy was built on our deaths. It was fed by our ancestors. They basically was feeding us in a death process so that they could build wealth. Human existence is based on, if you want to live life, you have to be willing to consume other life. Take other life's energy and use it and live it. But a lot of us, we can't stomach that. So we come up with rules that prevent us from being able to fully express who we are. I want you to understand, family, that when the West Asians attacked Black Wall Street, they didn't give a damn about the kids. They didn't give a damn about the pregnant women. They didn't give a damn about the elders. They just consumed that whole place. They took all the lives that they possibly could. When they couldn't beat us with guns, they dropped the bomb, and a lot of us don't know that. When they couldn't beat us with the guns, they had to call in and drop a bomb on us. We wasn't going to let them come across them tracks and just wantonly take over our community and kill us. We had to be willing to take lives, to protect lives. But this is a whole different mind state for us now. This is uncomfortable for us to think about. It's uncomfortable for us to think about this right now because we have been programmed. We have been programmed against our own survival. I'm not saying that we need to be wanting to go out here and take people's lives, but we got to understand if this is, like I was just thinking about this, family. We have been in the nation building process and the village building process in Columbus for a very long time. And the thought came to me the other day. What would my community, Miss Jackie say, hold on. What would my community do if somebody ran up into one of our elders' houses, a group of individuals ran up into our elders' houses and robbed them at gunpoint. We knew who it was as a community. What would we do? What should we do? What if they ran up and harmed our elders? Harmed some children? What do we do? Jackie said, I get what you're saying, but are you suggesting what the moral of this story is supposed to be based on spirituality is not completely about being nice to one another? It's not. I don't think spirituality is totally about us being nice to each other. I think spirituality is deeper than that. I think that's the children cover that we put on it. That's the blinders that we put on to keep us from looking at the reality of the world. We're not nice to cows. We're not nice to chickens. We're not nice to the eggs. We're not nice to a lot of the shit that we consume. We're not nice to it at all. Hell, we just had Thanksgiving. Nobody was nice to the damn turkeys. Nobody was nice to those things. We consumed them. And part of our problem is that we don't realize that just like we consume the turkey, our enemies are consuming our lives. The Bible and all other religious texts is full of war. And that's the point that I'm making. As a matter of fact, in the Old Testament, it was certain battles where they was told to kill everything. Women, children, blades of grass, you cockroach running across the floor, you destroy everything. It's about balance, and a lot of balance comes from war. Because you got to understand, listen, war is part of it. See, war is conflict. We shy away from conflict. A lot is learned from conflict, right? So war is part of life. In order to maintain peace, you have to prepare for war. Why? Because there's always something coming to destroy that peace. Peace is like it's balanced with war. But the spirituality we talk about, it only talks about peace. Oh, turn the other cheek. We did that. You know what I'm saying? And I think the karmic energy that our ancestors built on turning the other cheek and being forgiven, we got enough karmic credit to take out a whole bunch of motherfuckers. I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying? After you add up the lynchings and the lives that was lost on plantations and you know what I'm saying? Because people I'm listening to more people talk to, you act and you talk about slavery like you was like you was there, like it affects you. Oh, and it don't affect you. You know what I'm saying? Our ancestors was consumed. We were sacrificed. We were put on the altar of progress, and it was our blood that made it possible for America to go to the next level. War was declared on us. We never declared war back. And it's okay for us to do this, and we have to turn the other cheek. We don't go to war in politics. We don't go to war in economics. We don't go to war in the social system. We don't go to war in education. See what I'm saying? Yeah, because this is where a lot of people get it wrong. When I was in the military, when I went to the military, I was 16 going on 17. When I started looking into going to it and doing the split option program, I found out it's a split option program. When I went to the Army, they put out a book about this thick with the different careers that I could go into. And in the military, there is a field that covers every aspect of life. From music to medical. From science to straight going out and killing somebody. They had majors, they had things in there that covered everything. So we think about armies and we think about war as if it's only about being on the battlefield. But how do you get the food to the people on the battlefield? How do you get all, you know what I'm saying? When we talk about war and when we talk about military and when we talk about these things, we talk about them as if they're isolated and not connected to the rest of life. Brother Quay said, I don't think they were being forgiven as much as they submitted. Forgiving, submitted. Forgiving, submitted. Forgiving, submitted. Okay, I can dig it. Now, is it time for us to unsubmit? Or stop forgiving? However you look at it. You know what I'm saying? We forgave a lot, family. And I'm just saying, you don't think it might be time for us to really start understanding what's going on and taking a serious look and really start grouping up? Family, look, I am spooked because I'm telling you right now, when I look at those pictures of Somalia, I see my sons. I see my sons. Not just because these individuals are black, many of them look like some of my kids. I see the kids that I work with every day. And I know that if there's a breakdown here in America, it'll only be a matter of months before they are shipping some of our kids off as indentured or slave labor. And if we are not able to protect them and realize that we need to group up, because the only thing that protects groups is the fact that they group up. What protects the Chinese is the fact that the Chinese can say that I'm Chinese, you fuck with me, you got to fuck with these other billion people that look like me. The reason they're able to do that over there in Libya, because Nigeria ain't coming up there and be like, dude, listen, we will blow this motherfucker up off. We will wage war until there is nothing standing here or Nigeria if you do not let our people go. Family, I keep telling y'all this. Listen, when I lost my passport in Ghana, I went to the embassy. Everybody got out of my way. At that point in time, I really understood because people were scared of the fact that an American citizen, somebody had stole something from an American citizen. They didn't do that because they was being nice. They did that shit because they either respected or feared the power of the motherfuckers that's behind me, or in front of me, or over me, or whatever the fuck. But my point is, why can't that same mode be for us? So that when they see our children coming into school, our children get a different treatment than they are getting right now. When we walk into the bank, we get a different treatment than we're getting right now. When we get pulled over by the police, we get a different treatment than we do right now. See, and it comes from not having, in a sense, and I ain't saying this is the only answer, but having the mind state of that dude, you got to understand, if I got to die, I want to make sure that you die first. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's something that we really got to wrestle with. That's something that a lot of us really fear, right? Because it's like this. When I was writing down the names of the ancestors, I told y'all this before, but you know I constantly repeat myself. I wrote down a quote that came to my mind. I think it was, it was on the white sheet. Where's my white sheet? In war, all soldiers do not make it to the victory celebration. Many of us are more concerned about getting to the victory celebration than the fact that we're at war. Many of us want to be sitting around telling stories at the table, and the fact, if we were to get serious about doing some nation building, many of us that's sitting here right now wouldn't even make it. Wouldn't even make it. When America declared their independence from Britain, individuals in that room knew that a majority of them probably wouldn't even make it. And if I lose America, and if they lost America, it would have been them fighting to the end. I don't care, long as I'm able to see you go first. And when your enemy sees that in you, they leave you alone. They leave you alone. We're being messed with because, it's going to be okay. It's going to be peace. We got to keep it peaceful. We got to keep it mellow. Unless we're dealing with each other. I give. Die with the warrior spirit beating in your heart. Everyone at all times. No, not everyone. Hey, why everybody ain't got to do it? See, and this is the piece. This is opinion. I'm just talking, the story came to me. I didn't pick the story. But it brings up points. You know what I'm saying? And everyone don't have to see, because we got to understand, everybody is not designed for the battlefield. As a matter of fact, we will be doing our service, this service, we put everybody on the battlefield. We need to put those who are built for the battlefield on the battlefield, and put those behind the battlefield who are built for it behind it, and each one of us get in the place where we supposed to be. Jackie, if you doing what you do, and I do what I do, and Quasi out there doing what he does, and Miss Angela does what they do, you know what I'm saying? There's no way we could be beaten. But those of you that do have the warrior spirit, be easy and not scared to let the warrior go ahead. That's right. Let me finish. Girl, why don't you call in? Call in. I love hearing your voice anyway. And then on top of that, I'm still waiting for my article. Or the book. Oh, you promised a movie, and you said I was gonna get to pick the character who could pick the actor who was gonna be me. You understand what I'm saying? But and like I said, family, let me stress, these opinions are mine. Not even Gye-Nyame Journey's totally. Not any of the people you see me around. This is my discussion. These are my opinions. These are the thoughts that's flowing through me right now. And this is the beauty of these folk tales, right? I'll read this next year, and I'll have a totally different feel for it. My life experience will have brought me to a different point where I'm able to look at it from a different perspective. And you will look at it from a different perspective too. Because the last thing the major thing that I know is that I'm not right. I may not be right, and I'm okay with that. Sister Jackie said, no, I'm watching This Is Us. They gave a big shout out to HU. What? No, I'm watching This Is Us. They gave a big shout out to H. Who is HU? HU. You know I'm slow. I don't speak emoji or those little 3-letter words. Those, is it called acronyms or whatever? I'm not good at speaking that yet. You got to walk me through. I understand laughing out loud, but it took me about 5 years to figure that out. I thought it was just law. The hell is law? Okay, I'm acting like I know what it means. Law. You know what I'm saying? So they incorporated Higher University into the show. Into what show? What show? She say, no, I'm watching This Is Us. Is that the name of a show? I don't know. All right, family, listen. Ain't nobody called in. Y'all just let me run my mouth. Well, maybe somebody called in and I just couldn't hear him. Nope. All right. I'm going to let y'all go. This is Brother Hatim. You are... Okay, This Is Us. Okay. You are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey. I'm your host, Brother Hatim, and you have just now listened to Folktales for Grown Folks. And of course, this is a Heart of a Simple production. When we strive to blow up your old paradigm. I am out.